Hi. So yeah, this is intentional. How do you choose the right gloves for your Himalayan trek? How warm should they be? How tight should they be? How much should you spend on them? I'm going to be covering all of these so that you are aware of how to choose your pair of gloves for your Himalayan trek. I'm Swati from Indiahikes and you're watching Trek with Swati. I want to start by breaking a misconception about gloves here. Most people start talking about trekking gloves only when winter is around the corner. They think winter's here and they need gloves. But that is not true. You need gloves for any trek in any time of the year if you're going in the Himalayas. Because over here in Bangalore or Chennai, Delhi, it might be very hot. But in the mountains, the temperatures will drop to 1-2 degrees. If you're going above 14,000-15,000, it can drop even lower, especially in the presence of snow. So you need a good pair of gloves for any time of the year that you're trekking. So first of all, it's a good investment to make. But what do you look for when you're buying a pair of gloves? So I've devised a simple 3-pointer system that can help you choose the right pair of gloves. So you need to assess whether the gloves are keeping you warm. Second is whether they're keeping you dry. And third is whether they're fitting you right. So how do you go about this? The first is warmth, right? So you need to ensure that there is a good lining inside this pair of gloves. There is usually a fleece lining or there is a cotton lining. There is some lining or the other most of the times in a good pair of gloves. And that is something that you need to look for. Another additional bonus would be is at the fingertips if the lining is reinforced, because the first to suffer is usually your fingertips. So if there is a reinforcement of the lining and of the warm mechanism in the gloves, and that is an additional benefit. The second is whether the gloves are keeping you dry. Now over here is where the water resistance comes in. So your gloves must be able to repel water if they come in contact with it. How can you make that out? If you just spray some water, sprinkle some water on these gloves, it will roll off. It will not get absorbed. So this is a sign of a good water resistant material. Why is this important? Because almost on any trek you're going to be handling snow. You may want to have a snowball fight. It might be raining and you may have to handle things that are wet, or you may be washing your dabba, something on those lines. So your gloves must not absorb that water. They must remain dry with this minimal contact. So this is something that's required. Many trekkers confuse waterproof gloves and water resistant gloves. Waterproof is technically those gloves that you get typically to clean the sink and all of that. Those are not meant for trekking. These are meant for trekking. The third point is that it fits you well, it fits you snugly. Now, you don't want it to be too tight that it's not flexible at all. You don't want it to be too loose where it is allowing a lot of air inside. So gloves also work on the same principle that it traps the heat from your own hands inside the gloves. So you should not be allowing any outside cold air inside. So what you need is good mechanisms to tighten the gloves, and if you can tighten it easily with one hand, that's ideally what you want. So usually there are two areas where you can tighten the gloves. One is just below your wrist and one is near your arm, because both of them will usually have a different circumference, so that both areas you can tighten and not allow any air inside. So the others are all bells and whistles if you ask me. Some have, for example, this one has a zip right here, which allows breathability on a warmer day, or like right now my palms are actually getting very warm and sweaty. So this is an air vent that allows breathability. Many companies may promise you that these gloves have touchscreen ability, or that you don't need to take out your gloves to actually handle your phone or your camera. In most cases that is not going to happen, because if you want good warmth, you need good reinforcement of the material in all corners. If you have to take that out, it's not going to work. So if you're a photographer, you will usually have to take out your gloves and then use your camera, your phone, whatever it is. So if you keep these basics in mind, that is your W is for warmth, D is for dry, and F is for the good fit, this should give you a good pair of gloves. How much should you spend on it? I wouldn't spend more than 1,000 to 1,500. 1,500 is for a very high-end pair of gloves like this one I'm wearing. This is from our own Crosstrek store, and this is on our store for 1,500 rupees. So this does the job beautifully. And what I'm really liking is these days you get all of these in one pair of gloves. I think around 8-9 years ago we had to layer up with many pairs of gloves, like one fleece gloves and then another pair. So this one covers everything in just one. So I would ideally recommend going for something like this. If you have any more questions about how to choose a pair of gloves or choose any other trekking gear, drop in a comment below. On the other hand, if you need some personal help in choosing a trek, then also get in touch with us with the form in the link in the description. We have a team of excellent trek advisors who will advise you on what trek would suit you, what trek won't. Many people are very suspicious ki trek market karoge. That's not something we'll do. If trekking is not something meant for you, we'll tell you that also. So just make sure you fill the form and we'll help you out with whatever treks you'd like to do. We also have shorter versions of these videos on our Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon next to it so that you're notified of our future videos. We'll be back with more tips and talks from the trekking world soon. Thank you for watching. I'm Swati from Indiahikes.